Everybody, welcome to Sony Hall. My name's Laura Whitmore. I'm going to be interviewing some of my friends tonight. Echosmith, I think you might have heard of them. So tonight's interview is part of a series called Backstory Events, and we host live interviews with folks here and at other venues in New York City. So if you want to find out who else we have coming up in the series, check out backstoryevents.com. You can sign up for our mailing list as well. We also, I just blanked. Oh, yeah. Hey, we are live streaming on Parade Magazine today. So say hey to people out on Parade watching on their Facebook page. So I'd like to, without further ado, bring out Sydney, Noah, and Graham Sirota from Echosmith. Come on out.
Hey, hey.
Hello.
Howdy.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you? Wow, this stool is like taller than I thought. Hold on, I'm gonna get on this way and then turn
Do you need
towards
help?
you. No?
We don't want to
Okay.
have a wardrobe malfunction.
Oh,
So
boy.
we have to be
Okay,
careful.
ready? I'm
Don't
forward now.
don't flash the people.
She's
Try to be
multi-talented.
modest, guys. It's important.
She's very talented. That's right. So you guys have been in New York for a few days. What have you been doing?
Well, we've had shows around New York. So we did Jones Beach, had a couple days off, and got to just hang out in New York and walk around and eat lots of food. And then we had a show yesterday
Jersey,
in Homedale.
Homedale.
All right.
So yeah, and then now we're back, and then we're gonna be back again on Friday or Saturday for Arthur
I think
Ashe
both. Yeah.
Kids Day. Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice,
we keep
yeah.
coming back. It's kind of crazy. It's
You
our
must
little home.
like it here.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, and we have a lot of things to do here, so that's helpful.
You cannot get bored in New York, right, guys? So let's chat about music. You have recently released a single, Over My Head, which is stuck in my head, which is a good thing.
Stuck in it. Yeah. You can replace that word. It's a nice twist on the song.
Why don't you share a little bit about the song and what inspired it and sort of that direction that you're going in?
Yeah, I mean, that song was really different for us to do because it isn't about something super enjoyable. And it's really just about that feeling that you have when you are having miscommunications or misunderstandings, especially with people that you love, which I think happens a lot more, I'm realizing, than I expected. No matter how much you like somebody, you're going to misunderstand each other at some point. So it's really about that extreme frustration when that happens. And that's kind of different for our band to write about because, we always want to have a message and to bring positivity to our music and have some hope in there, even if it's about something negative. So that's why the bridge is really important to us because it's literally telling that person, tell me what you're thinking because I actually want to understand you and I'm not ditching you because we don't understand each other right now. And a lot of songs and movies are kind of putting out that message, like I'm ghosting you because you wronged me once, or you don't understand me so we can't be friends. So it was really important for us to have that sort of message inside of a song that talks about something like this. And it feels really personal. I think it's very relatable to a lot of different situations, especially depending on the day.
Was there like a specific incident that sort of inspired you guys to write that, or?
Not necessarily. I mean, as we've been just writing so much for the sophomore album, obviously we've lived a lot of life, and I was like 15-ish, maybe 16 when we wrote and recorded all of our first album, and now I'm 21, so a lot of things have changed, obviously, for all of us. So I think just really experiencing more life and understanding that hard things happen, and there's a lot of pain that happens as you grow up, and there's a lot of growing pains. Obviously, there's a lot of beautiful things in the world, too, but experiencing different aspects of life that you don't really notice when you're 15 gives you more material to write about as you go on. So it kind of was just living more life, and I was like, wow, there's so much more to write about, and this is an example of that.
Would you say that that's sort of indicative of where you guys are going creatively with, new material that you're working on?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say we're always trying to draw just from our experience, and we've grown a lot in the past few years, and we're just trying to keep that going, obviously as people, but also kind of infusing that with our creative sides as well. And that, I think creates the best art, and that's, that's our job. So we got to try to make, the best music we can.
So your first album was like a crazy, great success. Yay.
Go team.
Go team. Have you felt pressure to sort of follow up on that, and has that influenced, what you've done creatively?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gives you a different perspective when you're writing and recording songs, when you have had success. I mean, we're so blessed to be able to say that we have that pressure. Even though sometimes it's a little overwhelming, you kind of just have to literally tell yourself, don't think about that and just write from the heart. And really, I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it's true. Because if you're just gonna go try to write a hit song, it's probably not gonna work. And if it does, it feels ingenuine, and you can tell that it's someone just trying to write another hit song, and it'll do great for a second, but it won't last as long maybe. So we just have to keep mentally telling ourselves to forget about the whole writing a catchy song. Of course, that's awesome. But I think the best songs are written when you're writing from real experiences like we talked about, and really just writing what comes out naturally. And there's gonna be great songs and bad songs that come out naturally, and you kind of just have to weed through those. That's why it's important to write a lot. But yeah, I mean, we definitely have felt some pressure, but if anything, we're just more grateful to have more of a platform now than when we released our first album.
Right. And have you felt, so as you're maturing and evolving, have you...
So mature now.
Have you...
Oh, boy.
Have you felt support from your fans or any pushback as you sort of grow into, a new creative space?
Things have been pretty positive, which is always
Thanks,
nice.
guys.
Yeah, you guys are cool.
You're like, hey.
I mean, I think, from the start of, Echosmith, Cool Kids and Talking Dreams and all that, I think we always just tried to kind of put out that we are a band that cares about portraying who we are and our experience kind of just as human beings, as people. And we're just trying to carry that on. I think as long as we stick to that, people should be nice about it, I mean, I don't go through YouTube comments too much. That's probably
people
where...
are mean on YouTube.
That's where scary things happen.
Don't read YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Now you're all going to go home and read YouTube comments.
Yeah, read comments on Cool Kids, and they're like, you should die. And I'm like, I don't want to die. It gets violent. It's terrifying.
They get very extreme and really irrelevant.
But
what
thankfully...
does it have to do with anything?
I know. But thankfully, fans have been really great, and they've been very patient as well, which has been a really cool gift for us, because it's taken time, and we've had to deal with stuff and business stuff and all that. But we're here, we're alive, we get to make music, we get to play music tonight, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you guys create a lot together, so can you share a little bit of like a peek behind the scenes of what your creative process is like?
And scene, okay.
Noah, you're so annoying.
Oh, you
Stop.
suck. No,
That's the extent of our fights now, anyway.
We sit in a room and we just create something. Sometimes it starts with Graham likes to sing a lot in the shower. He sings very loud in the shower.
And he has great melodies in
Great
the shower.
melodies.
It's usually some random language, like a made-up language.
Elvish or something. Do you speak Elvish?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll find out. But,
It's these great melodies, though. I love
fantastic. So we'll just come into the room, and sometimes we'll have an idea or like a kind of a theme we want to write in, or some, I don't know, philosophy or something, and then jump off of that. And for us, we try to keep it fresh every single time, because it's easy to get, I don't know, kind of too rigid with structure when you're writing with the same people all the time. And then it's like, okay, we're going to get, Sunny's going to have this, and I'll do this, and Graham will be like this in the corner, and then, we'll be doing that. But, to try to always, keep in mind that we need to keep it fresh for each other's sake as well. Makes it fun, makes it exciting, and I don't know, we'll try anything. That's kind of our motto.
It's really smart to kind of switch it up. Do you guys switch instruments sometimes too? Just for fun?
Yeah, sometimes. We, on our last headline tour, which is this past spring, Graham lets me jump on his drum set sometimes, so I got to do that on this tour, which is cool. Good minute and a half. Enough where I'm so out of breath, so I have to stop if I'm gonna try to sing later. I don't know how You do it. But anyway, so sometimes I'll hop on his drums or, play guitar or whatever, just to mix it up. And Noah plays keys a lot too, and so do I. So we kind of just switch off and run around. I don't play bass. I suck. My hands are just too small.
She can't hit the first fret.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
very
like,
sad.
I can't do anything with these short fingers.
Tiny fingers.
But yeah, so we switch around a bit, and Noah's been singing more, and we have little moments that we'll probably show in a little bit, where Noah has his solo. Yes.
Ooh.
Very
awesome.
dramatic.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's what everyone does. They all scream when he starts singing. I'm like,
Oh, it's a big highlight.
yeah.
They like me more than you. What can I say?
They're
I'm
just used to me.
popular.
They're like, well, duh, she sings, I guess. I'm used to it.
Ugh.
So you guys have, you had this great EP come out a few months ago, and share a little bit about that and what your sort of vision was and why an EP and kind of what happened there.
Yeah, it's long story short. We have been working on new music for a long time, and pretty much since 2016. And we have written and recorded so many songs and done new edits of all those same songs a million times too. So it feels like we just have so much music at this point, which is a great problem to have, because now we're at the point where we can really narrow it down for the album and for a full-length album, hopefully soon. But, at the time when we were going to release the album, we kind of realized that a lot of things had happened, and we were sitting on a lot of songs, which is great, but there were some other stories that felt like they needed to be told, including Over My Head and a lot of other new songs that nobody's heard yet. So it was really important for us to still give our fans something, and we put out the longest EP ever. That's what it should have been called, by the way, because it's 7 songs.
Yeah.
That was a very meaty EP. Very
Right?
good, yeah.
7?
Thank you. I appreciate
I don't know. So we wanted to still give everybody something to hold on to while they waited for the full-length album. And there's a lot of songs from there that'll still be on the album, but there's so many new things, that we're just ready to put out as soon as possible. But we were happy that we could still put something out and still tour on that, which it's a little unusual to tour on just an EP, and it's not necessarily, preferred in all situations. But because we had our first album and all these songs, we felt like we had still so many songs to choose from for a show.
Right.
But if anything, it just makes it so our, touring cycle, as they call it, is just even longer, since it kind of started last year, and we're still working on putting that album out and then touring again and again like we did the first time around. It was 3 years long. So I have a feeling we're in for another one of those, which is really exciting, because it's nice to get to see it grow in real life.
Right. I want to talk about touring in a minute, but I want to ask you, for the EP and for some of the other songs you've done, you guys do these amazing videos for your songs, and they're also creative and different, and I was wondering if you guys have input into what happens with your videos.
Yeah, it depends. There's some videos where we have more input than others, and there's a lot of examples, of that, especially with the songs from the EP. So, with our song Goodbye, that was a really openly creative experience for us and for the director, Gus Black, and we're good friends with him too. So it just felt really natural for us to kind of just wing it. We had a treatment, as they call it, little 1 or 2 page PDF file that said, this is going to happen, but we kind of just went for it. And it was filmed in our house, actually, that we had recently got. So it was just kind of one of those things where we just were like, should we try filming in that hallway? Okay, let's do it. And then there's other videos that are more structured, like Get Into My Car. That video was a lot more, 9 a.m. to 9:40 a.m. we're doing this scene or whatever it is. But that was a really fun one too. So we really enjoy every kind of experience when it comes to videos, because it's not our forte, obviously, but it's fun to have input when it's appropriate.
Yeah, and it's sort of all part of the creative process, right? So let's talk about touring. You guys have been touring with Pentatonics, and I just wanted you to share what that experience has been like for you.
This tour has been a lot of fun. I mean, we've never done a tour with this many shows that are this big. I mean, these shows are, I think it's like 12,000 people most nights. Like, it's a lot of people. So to play in front of a crowd like that is obviously just going to be amazing. And to play in front of a crowd that's, all of them being basically fans of Pentatonics is cool because every single one of them are true fans of music. Because if you're into Pentatonics, you have to love music because they're an a cappella group. Like, that's all about enjoying, like, the spectacle of what music is, and they are a great representation of that. So to play in front of a group of fans like that and try to draw as many of those in as possible is a really cool honor and a great joy for us, and we've been having a lot of fun. It's a totally different kind of tour than we've done, but it's been great. It's a good fit.
Because you guys did like Warped tour and stuff, right? That's
was
going to be a
different.
really different experience.
Very, very different. We did Warped Tour 2 years in a row, which is a bit unusual. Usually people will at least skip a year. But we did 2013 and 2014. And that is a tour that teaches you how to work hard, for sure. You have to. If you want people to come to your show, especially if you're a new band, you have to do something about it. They may hear about you, but, you got to put up those posters. We put up at least 100 every day at 7 a.m. And we would use spray chalk on the floor to write Echosmith at this stage at 2:10 p.m. And that got people to come. That's still at some of the venues, by the way. It's supposed to be washable,
It wasn't.
but apparently it's not.
We
So-
vandalized a lot of property.
But it wasn't
There's a
intentional,
warrant
so
out
it's not
for
really
her
a crime
arrest.
if you didn't mean to, right?
That's kind of...
I don't know.
That's
I
not
don't
how
know
the
the
legal
answer to
system
that.
works.
I don't know. In my Netflix shows, it's
Yeah.
fine. Anyway, so that tour was just so different and so hardcore, and there's only porta potties.
It's very guerrilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pretty nasty.
You're
actually.
in the trenches there.
Yes, but you make it work, and if anything, it makes me really grateful for days like today where there was someone doing my hair and someone doing my makeup, and
In
I'm
a
like,
shower.
wow, I feel so fancy.
You're so
yeah, I washed
fancy.
my hair today.
That's special. She got to wash her hair.
Yeah, guys, you're
It's
really
been a long
special.
time.
Fresh hair for you today.
Wow.
But either way, tour life is a bit, rough in some ways, unless you're like, I'm sure Beyonce washes her hair every day, probably, but
You don't know.
I don't know,
I'm sure
actually.
she's busy, man. She's
yeah, she is busy, but
I did want to ask you some thoughts about how to stay sane and healthy on the road because you guys tour a lot. So what do you do to not go insane out there?
I don't think we're insane,
Not yet.
but
End of 2015, we were getting close, though.
yeah, we were close to insane at
Close
the end
to
of
it.
3 years of touring. So we
Yeah.
still got 2 years until we're at that point.
Yeah.
But we really try to be generally healthy on the road, which does help. It's just interesting because I always thought when people said, what you put into your body matters, I was like, psh, I love French fries, though.
Ice cream.
Which we still get plenty of French fries and ice cream, to clarify. But it's more of a, on the weekends or something, because you start to realize when you're on stage, you don't want to, feel the pizza in your stomach as
I
you're,
tried.
jumping,
We played in Nashville, and I had Nashville hot chicken right before a show.
It's very
That was-
spicy, very
I have
heavy.
a strong stomach, but that was a gnarly.
Yeah, I looked over. I
gnarly
was like,
experience.
you look really sweaty.
I think my entire
really
digestive
sweaty.
tract is just destroyed at the moment.
Yes, but it's
Yeah,
okay. You're
I'm
fine.
alive. I've made it.
Anyway,
That
so
might
we
be too much information. I don't know if we want-
It's
TMI.
not enough.
But anyway, so we try to work out, every day, which makes you feel good physically, but also emotionally. It really helps me, especially if I'm feeling, sometimes you just wake up and you feel annoyed by everything. Especially when you're sleeping on a bus, and if it was a real bumpy night, I need that workout so I can get out my anger when I'm doing my donkey kicks and kicking the air really hard. So yeah, we try to do that, and I try to journal if I ever remember, because it's kind of like your own little friend. I realized I'm this is somebody to talk to, you know. I mean, I have people to talk to.
Listen, Nate,
Okay.
I'm here for you.
No, but
I'm your
anyway, you don't
friend.
always want to tell everyone everything,
Oh.
So it's kind of a nice little safe place to
Yeah,
say whatever you want,
Especially
you know?
if you're a public person, that's probably nice to have
Yeah.
some thoughts to yourself.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
kind of nice to have a little
Yeah.
something to yourself.
All right, I like that
Yeah.
idea. Journal while on the road.
Yeah.
Do it.
Plus,
try.
that might make a book one day. You don't know. You might edit it.
Yeah,
as
I'm
your personal thoughts.
I'm not that like poetic at all. I'm more like, I had a quesadilla today and it was so good. And not everyone wants to hear that.
Lots of
you know?
quesadilla entries.
I'll try to tell my boyfriend, I'm like, yeah, can you believe how delicious the cheese was? And he's like, yeah, cool. So I need the journal to vent about things that are unimportant.
There you go. So
Journal.
So you guys, obviously, you grew up playing together, and
Yeah.
I was just wondering, like, what you thought some of the strengths of, playing with your siblings are. I'm sure there's like things that make you crazy, but there's got to be some good stuff too.
I think there's a variety of things that are better because we're a family. One being that we're able to communicate easily with each other. We, even just with our eyes, can say things that we couldn't say to
I'm
strangers.
saying so much to you right now.
Stop it. No. How dare you? Too soon. So that helps. So, when we're in the creative process and there's something that we don't like or that we love, we're able to communicate that to each other without feeling like there's a barrier there because we don't have an intimate relationship with that person. So that's one, I think. Two, when you grow up together, you learn just to be around each other constantly. And that's exactly what touring is. You're around each other every single day, sleeping in the same place, doing the same thing, eating the same food all together. So you have to kind of be able to deal with that. And that's hard. It's hard to do with strangers because you never know what you get into when you have some random dude like join the crew and they're like maybe don't fit in totally well. But we know each other and we know how to vibe with each other and stuff, and it works out. So we, fighting to enjoy each other is a lot easier when you're a family, I would say.
And you had a fourth sibling with you guys, and your brother left the band, and so now you have some new people. Has that changed sort of the dynamic of what happens on the road and on stage, or?
Yeah, it definitely felt different, especially at first, because he had the cutest little baby in the world, so it was
Very cute.
actually a really good payoff for him not being here. I was really sad when he was leaving, and then once I met, his name's Django. Once I met Django, I was like, I can't be mad at you anymore. He's too cute. So it was really weird at first to just get used to looking over and not seeing my brother, because forever it had only been siblings on stage. Now at this point I'm just totally used to it and we're friends with everyone, so it's great. But at first it was hard not to feel weird towards the new guitar player because he's not my brother. Of course he can't help that, but mentally it was really hard to accept that. I was like, what? You're not my brother, and we can't,
Yeah.
Obviously you feel so comfortable with your brothers too, so that adds another element of like, I can just tell my brothers, turn around, I need to change, and it's like different where I'm like, okay, can like you exit the room? You know what I mean? Just like little things that are silly, but when you're family, there's that comfortability and trust there. So just interesting to learn different dynamics. And of course, making new music was different without him too, because he was a huge part of Echosmith. So it took a lot of discovering and trying new things, a lot of things that worked and a lot of things that didn't work, for us to really figure out who we were outside of Jamie. So it was definitely a process, but at this point, it's been like 2.5 years since he left. So we're a lot more used to it now, and we get to hang out a lot when we're home, and it makes it even more special when we see each other. So if anything, I would rather have that than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes it helps you discover some things about yourself as an artist that you didn't know, because
You gotta be
you didn't have to
pushed.
go there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your musical influences, and I especially want to ask the guys, like, do you have like a bass or a drum like hero that has influenced your playing? And
Yeah, I know I have a few. The first one I had when I was growing up was for sure Sting. My dad showed me all those Police records, and the way that especially because they were so influenced by the reggae scene, and the way that he would be so melodic but also have a rhythm in a way that wasn't super common in music that I was growing up around, that most music ever created had. So that was a big one for me. And then later on, I discovered a band called The Smiths, and I think it's Andy Rourke on bass, and he is insane. It's just great bass lines, and the way they meld with the vocal melodies and the guitar playing, it's almost orchestral because it has this kind of symphonic movement with each other, and they can have this tension and they could break away, and it's a very fun thing to study. So I didn't.
That felt so deep right
That
there,
was.
by the way. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about again?
Oh, who knows?
Good
Who
job,
knows?
Noah. He's
Thank
very
you.
poetic.
Oh, joy.
Graham, who are your favorite drummers? Or one or two, whatever
My
you want.
favorite drummer is the drummer from The Killers.
Oh.
Ronnie, right? Or Ronnie?
He's
Yeah,
so
Ronnie.
good. Isn't he
Yeah.
the one that looks like, what's his name? The
Uh,
actor.
And the skateboarder. What's his name? Jason?
Wait, what?
Anyone?
I have no
He-
idea.
The guy from My Name is Earl? Or Jason Lee.
Yes, they're
He
literal twins.
They look very similar.
And it's so entertaining for me. I love
Yes.
seeing doppelgangers. I don't know why. It's fun. I don't know.
Good time.
You know, apparently everybody has one or two doppelgangers in the world.
I told you.
Noah
that.
told me that. I have no
Yeah.
idea if it's a fact.
It's science.
I don't know. People tell me that I look like somebody all the time, so maybe that's true.
I have
kinda
one in
do.
Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found him on
He
Facebook
does,
once.
actually.
No,
You should
seriously.
reach out.
There, I've talked to him.
Oh.
He was like the kind of the anti-Noah. He's like completely different. He uses words and just a different style of speaking than I normally have. And yeah.
I'm confused.
But
Are
he's
you
a cool,
okay.
yeah, but seriously, he looks a lot like me.
Does he play the bass?
No, he plays guitar.
Oh.
So that's how I found.
He's his alter ego.
Crazy story. In like 8th grade, Facebook was killing it. There was a page that was like boys who play guitar, and there's a
And
picture
a lot
of this
of girls
dude.
liked that page.
Facebook pages. And there's this dude playing guitar, holding a pick, because I used to hold a pick with like the most terrible technique, like that. And this dude literally was playing guitar the exact same way I did. And someone tagged me, like, oh, is this you? You're on this page. I'm like, that's not me, but who is this? And then me and my friend Jacob, through much Facebook stalking and investigation, we found out Bjorn Westus was my doppelganger.
Shout out.
Yeah.
We are
So-
on Facebook Live, aren't we?
Right, we're live. Yeah.
What's up?
What up,
Let's
Bjorn?
find that guy and tag him.
Bjorn.
I think I'm friends with him on Facebook, actually.
You should
There you go.
send him a link to this after.
Let's hope.
I'd be
yeah.
like, what? So I wanted to ask you about your bass because you
Yeah.
play upright, and how did you decide to play an upright bass?
So the first instrument I ever chose was bass. I was 6 years old, and it was an electric bass because it was much too tiny to play an upright. But I had always wanted to play the upright. I think there was a punk band from Australia. It was the only punk music I really liked. But the dude played an upright, which is probably the only reason I knew them. I can't remember what they're called, but I was like, I want to be that guy. And so I talked to my dad. I'm like, Dad, I want to play upright. Can you buy me one? He's like, those are expensive. I'm like, what can I do? And he said, if you practice every single day on electric bass for an entire summer, I think it was like 3 hours a day, I'll get you an upright by the end of it. I'm like, okay. So I was practicing
I
and
should have
going
used
at
that
it.
technique.
Shredding. What do they call
We
that?
didn't get anything for practicing.
Breaking wood. You guys have gotten plenty.
Got
Goodness
freaking
gracious.
nothing.
Well, wait for the end of the story. 3 hours every day, shredding, going through my, theory and stuff like that. And then by the end of the summer, I go to this new school, and they're like, oh, we actually already have an upright. And I'm like, oh, well, Dad, you don't need to buy me one now. So, Dad, he did get me an upright later, though. Never mind. You don't owe me anything, Father. I'm not holding that against you. But,
I
yeah,
want
and
like
then I
a
got
new bike or something.
a new bike, a motorcycle.
No, he wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
okay. But anyway, so
Need to be
in
safe.
like middle school, I started playing upright, and I just loved it. I was playing jazz and classical and all that stuff. And then we started touring, and it was really hard to take it out on the road because it's massive. And the case is even bigger. People call them Shamu cases because they're white and they're just like,
Yeah, they're enormous.
they're beefy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's heavy, and you can't take it anywhere. So I'm like, oh, we
But
do.
it does protect your bass.
Crazy story. Our bus got shot one time by
With
a
the
gun
gun.
in Atlanta. I don't know why. I don't know if I did anything. But they shot through the thing, and it went through the base, or it went through the case, but it didn't hit the base, which is kind of insane.
Bulletproof.
Yes. Go
Or
team.
just super lucky. I don't know.
I think it was more luck.
I don't know if we found that bullet, so it's either in the
Yeah.
case or in
That's
the trailer
crazy.
somewhere.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Wow.
It's terrifying.
What if
too.
someone was like, nobody sleeps in the trailer, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking.
What if
worst
someone
case
was like
scenario.
taking something out? Anyway,
Yeah.
all that to say,
That's scary,
it's hard. So I
guys.
got this a few weeks ago. It's called an NS XTA bass, upright bass.
And as for Noah Sirota?
I
It
wish.
says NXT on it.
NX
NXT.
NS NXT, lots of letters. NS NXTA bass, it's fantastic, and it really is a great alternative because I can carry it onto a plane, I can carry it around, and it sounds fantastic. I like it.
Super handy.
It's quite handy.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Should I
You want to just like do a little
slide around a
just
little bit?
I'll
Okay.
move out of the way.
I can hold your mic.
Do
yeah.
it. This is an original. Demonstration. So when you play bass, there's 2 different techniques. One is called pizzicato, like pizza, but it's pizzicato. And then there's, I think it's arco with a bow. I don't know where my bow is, so I don't know if I can show you that. But I can show you pizz. That's when you play with your fingers. And it's using like jazz, and I do it for our stuff. And it's a good time. You kick basses and stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, what am I going to play? I'll play gibberish on bass.
I was hearing a little Seinfeld in that.
I can, actually.
Yeah, something like that.
Learned that in high school. It's been a
That's
long
We'll
time.
have the tip jar out later.
Yeah.
You never know what could happen.
Oh, boy.
So you guys, you do a lot of covers. You continue to do covers, and I wanted to ask you, how you choose what songs to do, and you just like kind of do them on the tour bus, or how does that come together?
It depends. I mean, we recently have been doing, I think we did 2 covers so far. Have we posted the second one? No, we haven't. To come. We've been working them out on the bus, and we've been playing with like little instruments we brought out, because we brought a little recording rig and stuff like that on the road just to create and to play around with for covers and stuff. So we'll talk. We have a text thread that has just a buttload of songs for us to try out and stuff. And I don't know, it's hard to get a cover right because you have to know the song really well melodically, and that's, it's hard, and lyrics and all that stuff. But we try to do as many as we can, and we really do enjoy it because it's fun to just experiment with adding your sound to another artist's story, which I think is kind of a peculiar creative space to be in. And yeah, we'll be posting another one soon.
Yes, and they're all pretty much
Some
acoustic
point.
at this point, so obviously that adds another element of something different,
Do you think, playing other people's songs has sort of informed you, musically and lyrically, and have you incorporated that into some of, what you do? Or?
I think so. I think when you're doing a cover, especially when you're reading the lyrics, there's sometimes things you miss when you're just singing along to the radio or learning it that way. So when you're actually studying a song, you're like, oh, I need to actually not screw this up. You kind of get to notice little details in music that maybe you wouldn't catch otherwise, or even just like the way, I don't know, like chords can be done, different inversions and stuff and covers. Like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I want to kind of add that into something we're doing. Because there's a lot of depth and even a lot of pop music out today that you wouldn't totally catch in the first lesson. But when you're like studying it, analyzing it as a musician to kind of capture what it is, you notice that there's something really rich there, something really special that is fun to kind of emulate in other songs.
So I don't want to run out of time because I haven't really asked you about like your big breakthrough song, and what was the inspiration for Cool Kids, and like, can you share a little bit about the story behind that, how that sort of just went crazy for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many stories connected to the song, especially now, of course. Yeah. But when the song was written, obviously it was a while ago now, but each of us in the band had at one point or another experienced that desire and that longing to fit in or to look like that girl, sorry, to punch my brother, to look like somebody else or to sound like somebody else. Of course, there's so many people now that I'm realizing that have gone through that exact same feeling, and there's obviously different extents that people feel that in, but for us, it just was one of our stories, and that was just something that just felt normal to write about. And obviously we had no idea how many people would connect to this song at the time, and we actually went back and forth a lot with this song when we were writing it, because you want to be careful when you have a message, which is what we love to do with our songs, you know, if you have a platform, you may as well use it for good. And we have always had that mindset from the beginning. But you also want to be careful that you don't sound preachy or cheesy, but you still want to get the message across. So we went back and forth on the lyrics, especially for the verse, so much, and then finally had the idea of telling the story of a boy and a girl that felt those desires and saw those people who were put on this pedestal, even just mentally. And I think it was just the perfect way to tell that story because I think everyone can relate to it. And, you know, it's really important for me to remember what it's really about, which is, you know, to accept yourself and to be okay with who you are no matter what, and be okay with who you're not too. And that is something that I'm still trying to learn now. You know, I'm never gonna be tan. That's one thing that sounds silly. It sounds so dumb and everyone laughs at me. But I was so insecure about it for so long. And I still find myself feeling weird about the fact that I can just get a couple freckles if I'm in the sun for a couple hours, you know? But you just have to accept what you're not as well. And, you know, it makes you unique and that's really great. And that's really the underlying message of the song. And it's really nice that there's, you know, people who have been really affected by this song in a really positive way, and it's helped them through hard times. And, you know, I feel like I still relate to the song so much today, and it's a really good reminder for myself, singing it on stage every night and telling myself, oh yeah, what do these lyrics mean again? As I was just feeling insecure an hour ago or even 5 minutes ago. So it's really important for us too, and it's really helped me get through it, really getting to hear other people's stories of how they connected to the song.
Yeah, I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. You know, I noticed, maybe it was just last week or a few days ago, you did a takeover on Girls' Life. Yeah. And I was thinking about how, you know, you really are a role model for girls now. And I was wondering if you've had some meaningful interactions with some of your young female fans that you might want to share.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories I've gotten to hear, and I'm so blessed to even say that, because you hear a lot of people say, oh, I hate that I'm a role model. I didn't ask for this, which you can sympathize for that person for sure. But at the end of the day, if this is the job that I'm choosing to do, this is what comes with it. And honestly, I see it as an amazing thing and an amazing opportunity to get to even just help one person out. That's pretty awesome, no matter what job you do. So, you know, I've heard a lot of different stories of how our music has touched people, or just, you know, I heard even a dad tell me the other day who brought his younger daughter to a meet and greet, and he just thanked me in a really honest and serious way for not wearing nothing. Is that a double negative? Not wearing nothing.
I think you
yeah,
said
so it
it
means
right.
wearing something.
You're wearing
right?
something. That's right.
Sorry, grammar.
It's a strange way, yeah.
But it meant a lot to me for him to, you know, go out of his way to say, I'm so glad that I can bring my daughter here and not worry about what she's going to see or what she's going to hear and worry that she's going to be influenced negatively. And obviously, you know, a lot of people do it different ways, but it's really important to me to be able to be that sort of person who doesn't have to ever do that nude photo shoot, you know, and to never cross that line and not start all wholesome and then get there. But it's really important for me to be one of the few who stay that way until I'm 70 or something, which at that point, none of that's going to happen.
No one wants to see that.
You don't know. You could be like the Rolling Stones. You could be doing this. You guys would be like touring
They're
together.
They're going for it, yeah, right?
Forever.
They're cool.
They are very
They're
cool.
cooler now, just even looking, than they were when they were young.
That's true.
Easy.
See, it could happen. So I got one more question for you, and then we're going to take a few questions from the audience. So audience, get ready. So my daughter, Emma, is a fan of yours, and she couldn't be here tonight because she lives.
Emma on Facebook.
She lives on the other side of the country. She is probably watching. Woo! And so I said to Emma, you know, do you have a question for Echosmith?
Oh my gosh,
and,
how cool.
And she said, can you ask them what color is their aura? What color is their soul?
I mean, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that.
Say
but
black.
if I was to create my own answer, I would say pink and sparkly.
Oh, yeah.
That would be my dream vision of myself.
Black. I'll stick. That's my answer,
Wait,
and I'm sticking
black
to
and
it.
sparkly?
No, just black. Black and sad. No, I don't know.
Graham? What color?
Leather green.
Leather
green. Do you hear that, guys? Very specific.
Yeah,
It's like
textural.
foresty, but
That's good. Somehow
Something
those all go
else.
together. I don't know how, but they
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of all
Seeing
random.
it.
do. You heard it here first.
Oh boy.
Anyhow, so we've got Brad out there with a microphone, and we're going to take a couple questions from the audience. So raise your hand, and he'll bring a microphone over so that the folks online can hear your question too.
Yay. Missy Lagrata. Lagrata.
You know now.
Yeah, I know now.
Somehow.
I have learned her Twitter name. That's what we're talking
The
about.
past 5 years, you didn't know. But,
Yes, I did, but I always thought it was Grotto. Okay, whatever. I know
okay.
now.
So, fall tour. Is there one?
Good
Good
question. At this point, we are trying to figure out the rest of our lives. So I don't know. As of now, no, but you never know what could come up. We're just really trying to get this album out and then announce another tour soon. So we're working on that, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
Because
But you
that
never
should
know.
be
I
happening
mean,
soon.
the tour we're on now, we were asked 3 weeks before to do.
So when
sometimes
is the
things
start
just
of fall?
come. What was that?
When is the start of fall?
I'll
Let's
check my
start our
calendar.
3-week
It's
countdown.
like 3 weeks from now.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
don't
we'll
know, guys.
Sorry, guys. But yeah, you just never know. You never know what can pop up.
That's a good non-answer.
Yeah, we try. We're great at those.
So vague. Noah's really good at that.
I'm too good.
Too good.
It's
It
a
kind of
middle
is
child
aggravating.
thing.
Like, Noah, just say yes or no.
I don't know.
He just will walk away and not say anything. And I'm like,
I like the mystery.
I think what they're trying to say is they love to perform, and if they
we
could, they
will.
would.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, do we have another question here?
Hi, my name is Lana,
Hi,
and I'm
Lana.
a fan of you guys. I'm happy to be here. I
too.
just wanted to know, what is the one thing that's always on your mind right before going on stage to perform?
Ooh.
I like that.
Probably different for all of us, but
Sydney, what's yours?
I'm always thinking, did I forget anything? Did I forget to do anything? Did I put my mascara on? Did I put my lotion on? Do I have the right clothes on? Did I bring my shoes? Do
You're
I
a
have my
worry
in-ears?
birdie.
Did I drink water? Ooh, I should probably warm up.
Wow.
Too late. I'm on stage. That's my life.
You sound like
every
a mess.
day.
You have a lot on your mind.
Ooh, yeah. Especially while I'm singing, I am thinking about 100 different things. Like, what time do I have to wake up tomorrow? Mid-line. Yeah. Do I have to go to bed at 12 so I get 9 hours? You know, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Graham, what about you?
Too much.
What do you think about before a show?
If I'm gonna mess up,
You would never mess up,
Graham,
though.
you're a champ.
Graham is like
He's too good for that.
literally one of the
He's solid.
most perfect drummers.
You're perfect.
He's like, are you kidding right now? Or are you being serious? No, I mean
This isn't
it.
a joke. You're great.
You're perfect.
We like you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're
Noah?
good, dude. Honestly, I don't think about playing until I do it, which is great because I don't get nervous for really anything now, except for life. But show-wise, like, I'm usually thinking about food or this. I don't know, just like, oh, what did I eat yesterday? What's going on? Who am I? And then I play,
So
and I'm like,
nothing
yeah.
profound.
Yeah, nothing profound. It's quite
Well.
quite empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll work on being more profound.
I don't understand how you can think about things while you're singing and not forget the words
Well,
or where you're at in the song.
What's
because-
funny is thinking about other things makes it so I don't forget. If I start to think, I don't even want to talk about it.
Don't forget
Because
the
if I
words.
start to think about forgetting it, I'll forget it. And then I'll be in my mind like, am I going to forget the words? Don't forget the words. Don't think about forgetting the words because then you will. And then I'll be like, right before the next line comes. And then if I choose to like let that thought go, then I'll remember. But if I'm still thinking about it, it's gone.
Okay.
So I just need to keep thinking about like food and sleep and
Got you.
outfits.
There's a method there.
Yes. Method to, it sounds like madness. I realize I sound like a crazy person now.
A little
So
bit. A little bit.
Do we have one more?
Hey, Ty. Big fan of you guys. Quick, I'm starting out as an artist. I'm going to NYU Clive Davis for the.
congratulations.
Thank you. But I was wondering, when you guys first started out on your first album, did you produce it yourself, like, or just do studio jobs, like, and
Yeah.
have an engineer mix it for you, or pay
It's a
someone
great
to
question.
produce it?
Yeah, so the first record we made it came out in 2013, towards the end of it. But before that, for years, we're playing just as a live band. And we'd record because our father, he's a songwriter and producer. So we always had a home studio to work with. So that was very helpful. At that time, none of us were as much on that side. We were like, let's play the instruments and throw out our opinion and do it that way. And then we got signed, and then we basically recorded a bunch of demos with our dad, and then Jamie, our guitar player, he did a lot of production stuff as well. So we did that all together, and then showed that to our A&R at the time, Mike Elizondo, who's also a producer. And then he produced the record, so we'd go in with him, and we actually used a lot of the stuff that we did record at home. So there's we have the song Surround You, and it's this beautiful acoustic guitar and open D tuning, really gorgeous. And Jamie did that in his bedroom. And he had 2 mics on the guitar, as you should. And when he was recording it, probably towards the end, our mom's yelling Jamie, do the laundry. or
Okay, her
something
voice
like
is
that.
not like that.
My mom sounds
Jeez.
exactly like that.
You just made her sound like
It's more,
an animal or something.
well, I can't, when people yell, it's a whole other thing.
Jamie, it's kind of that
It is
singing
more of that.
tone, you know.
Jamie,
Gosh,
do
you
the
just
laundry.
made her voice sound horrible.
Jamie.
Mom, I love you.
Sorry,
I don't know
Mom.
where you are.
Your mom's
Forgive
here,
me.
so-
I didn't mean it. It just
Don't
came
forgive
out.
him. I should be
Anyway.
your new favorite.
Wait, so you
Oh, that's just
guys,
it.
I mean, you guys were very fortunate that you had sort of a studio production people
Yeah.
In your life from the
For
beginning.
sure.
It was in our house. It was so raw and fun to have that in the home. Because even when that happened, that's in the recording, and you can't really hear it. But it just feels like it's fun to
That's
I didn't know
have.
about it.
Beatles-ish. You gotta
Yeah.
have that hidden Beatles type
Yeah.
stuff in your
Then you play it
Secret.
backwards. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Just
Oh
kidding.
boy. But that's so we
scary.
love having a bit of that home studio feel, because there is something that comes from that.
Yeah.
Always inevitably just gonna feel really raw and authentic and kind of true to who you are as an artist and as a creative person and producer and all of that. So for the first record, that was kind of the story. So a bit of bedroom recordings and then a bit of the big, massive professional studio with this awesome producer. So
I found Mom
fun.
now, by the way. Mom,
I
are
saw
you
her.
mad?
Mom
Not-
doesn't care.
She's not mad.
She's
I'm
strong.
mad for her.
Okay, maybe we can take one more, and then we're gonna get ready for these guys to
Oh my
play.
gosh. Unless you want to do speed round and it's quick answers. Quick questions, quick answers. Then everyone gets to do it. Did I say answers? Answers.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Mike.
Yeah.
Me and my girlfriend, we saw you at Jones Beach
Yes.
last week.
She's got the T-shirt.
I like you guys.
Good
Yeah.
shirt.
Yes, we bought the tour.
Good to see you again.
It was my first time really, listening to your music.
Yay.
I've been hearing over my head over the radio,
Ooh,
but
I like that.
Yeah.
now you guys were great. I liked Pentatonics, but I thought that you guys were a much better performance. You guys were a real band. I really enjoyed that.
Very different.
Very different, and I enjoyed your performance. So I wanted to know, as artists, ever-changing artists, have you guys ever considered a different genre to try, like a harder rock or some kind of?
I can't
how
picture
solid,
myself
How
Well, no-
solid is that?
like doing
we,
harder rock.
when we first started,
know.
we went through a lot of different phases. Of course, because we're family, so we started when we were very, very, very young. So at that time, we were like, oh, let's go more this direction. We had a almost math rock kind of phase.
I
And then
was
we got,
not into the math rock
I
phase.
enjoyed it. It was quite
I was
fun.
like, what am I supposed to do?
Singing
You have a
7/8.
minute of time where I have nothing to do and I just feel awkward.
It was
So
a good time.
yeah, we
so,
started to shorten that part.
Yeah, but we got to test out, different avenues for who we are. But I think when you're a musician and when you're developing your craft over, the years, you kind of develop a personality that no matter what you're doing, it's gonna come out. So if we were to do something that was harder, say if we're 10 years from now, we're working on a record, and we're like, we want more of a rock, edge, grit kind of to it. It's always going to have an Echosmith kind of thing. It's always, I'm going to play bass like I play bass. And it might be slightly different, but yeah. So you never know. We shall see.
I do think that there's a little bit of variation in the kind of genre influences in your songs anyhow. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not all
You like to be
super
adventurous.
similar. So that's
Yeah, we definitely don't want to be the band where you listen to the album and you're like, did I hear this song already? Because that happens. So,
Yeah.
did you have one
Okay.
more question?
Yes.
Is that your finger?
One more. These guys came from out of the country. So.
I know you guys are
yeah.
amazing.
Okay, let's
I
hear
saw
it.
you. Was that yesterday?
Yvonne.
Hi, well, my name is Javi. I'm from Spain.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
I love your music, and I think you're being super kind and super lovely. And
Thank you.
I'm like looking forward to listen to all the music you're gonna sing. My question is there any advice that you can give for people who is studying in music as a singer-songwriter, as a musician? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thanks for coming. So I would say write music. That's number one, in my opinion. It's so important to really practice writing songs. And the first couple ones probably will be bad, and that's okay. But just keep doing it because practice really does help you, and it really does give you more perspective on how to write songs in the future. And it's really important to just tell your story, because if you went through it, there's bound to be somebody else in the world or even next door that has gone through the same thing, no matter what extent that may be. So it's really important to write about what you're going through, and don't try to be like, the songs on the radio, because it's going to change every day. It just, every other song you listen to is totally a different genre at this point, and about different contexts. So write from your experience, I would say. And keep going, because it takes you a long time. We've been a band 12 years now, and I feel like we have so much to go, and
70
it's been a
years.
while.
You got 70 years to go.
Yeah, Lord willing.
Well, thank you guys so much. We're so excited to
Yes,
hear
of
you
course.
play
Yay.
next. So people online, we're going to take a really short break so we can reset the stage, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes with some live performance by Echosmith.
Get ready.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I'm going to do my little turn.
Do it.
Thanks, guys.
Excellent.
Oh, boy.
Good job. Hey, everybody. We're back. No, you're all good. You don't have to run. It's okay. Hey, I'm Laura Whitmore with Backstory Events. We are live on Parade Magazine, and I am so excited to bring out Echosmith, who is going to share some incredible music for you guys. So, Echosmith, come on down.
So our singer's in the bathroom. So, I don't know. Hi. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. It's fun. Sydney, are you there? Sydney! I told everyone where you were, what you were doing. What is that stomping? Oh, it's her. Who could it be? Say hi to Sydney. Welcome back.
I didn't know that was going to be that fast, so I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, but so many stairs. Let's move back a little. Sorry, guys. This happens a lot. We decided to have an outfit change on our last tour, and I definitely missed it like 3 times. I was like stuck in an elevator, so sorry, I was just running up the stairs.
Let's play music. Let's do what we're good at.
Yes, let me breathe.
How you doing?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm good.
You're singing, so you gotta,
Gotta breathe, yeah. Okay, much better. Thanks for waiting, guys. Ready? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, the song is called Over My Head. Over my head, 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 over my head. Ooh, there's only static on TV and it's so dull. Reminds me of all the things you think I don't understand. It seems like you and me, we keep losing connection. Whenever you talk to me, it doesn't make any sense. Don't know what you meant, it's always over my head. Yeah, over my head. Yeah, it's so over my head, 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 over my head. It's too late to work on it to fix this. Over my head, over my head, over my head, over my head. You take the simple saying always complicated. Talking in circles got me dizzy like a merry-go-round. It shouldn't be so hard to have a conversation. I'm sick of fighting with your ego. I wish you would admit that I don't understand. It's always over my head. Yeah, over my head. Yeah, it's so over my head, 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 over my head. It's too late to work on it to fix this. Over my head, over my head, over my head, over my head. So tell me all the things that you are thinking. Oh, tell me what it is that I'm missing. Don't want this to slip under our hands. Don't want this to go over my head, 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 over my head. Is it too late to work on to fix this? Over my head, 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 over my head. Is it too late to work on it to fix this? Over my head, over my head, over my head. Whoa, over my head, over my head. Whoa, over my head. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. All right, this next song is called Tell Her You Love Her. Tell her the story, tell her the honest truth. You treat it better, make sure to see it through. Don't be this everything, she
she loves you, tell her you love her too. Give her a reason to love all you do. She'll tell you secrets, you tell her secrets too. She'll say all those dreams, you tell her too. When she says she loves you, tell her you love her too. Tell her you love her too. Don't you run away when you get tired. 'Cause it's a simple way, it's so tired. But I can never be put on. Oh, every time it's running out. But don't you run away before you tell her you love her. Give her a reason to love all you do. To tell you secrets, you tell her secrets too. She'll take all those dreams, you'll tell her too. When she says she loves you, tell her you love her too. Please don't run away when you get tired. 'Cause it's a simple way, it's so tired. Well, I can never be put on. Oh, every time is running out. But don't you run away before you tell her you love her. You don't you run away when you get tired. 'Cause it's so simple way, it's sort of fire. But I can never be put out. Every time is running out. But don't you run away before you tell her you love her. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. You guys are so much fun. Thanks again for coming out tonight. So this next song is called Break. we changed it up a little bit for you guys tonight, so you're very special.
I think the universe is on my side. Heaven and earth are finally aligned. Days are good, and that's the way it should be. It sprinkles sawdust on my pillowcase. It's like a moving brush across my face. Nights are good, and that's the way it should be. It make me sing, ooh, la la. It make me go, ah, ooh, I'm in love. Did you see that shooting star night? Where your stars are by the same constellation. You and Jupiter conspired to get me on the cube, and that's who got it right. 'Cause now I'm shining bright, so bright, bright, so bright. And I see colors in a different way. You make what doesn't matter fade to gray. Life is good, and that's the way it should be. You make me sing, ooh, la la la. You make me go, ooh, I'm in love. Did you see that shooting star night? Where your stars are by the same constellation. You and Jupiter conspired to get me on the cube, and that's who got it right. 'Cause now I'm shining bright, so bright. And I get lost in your eyes. Did you see that shooting star night? Where your stars are by the same constellation. You and Jupiter conspired to get me on the cube, and that's who got it right. So if I let you, or if I just let you,
Would you lie with me and just forget the world?
get we're told before we get too old. Show me your garden that's bursting into life. So if I lay here,
Oh, if I just let you,
would you lie with me? Would you lie with me? Would you lie with me and just forget the world?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Echosmith. I think we need one more, though, right? Do we need one more? One more?
Until you longer. Just kidding. We're in a nice intimate setting, so you guys are very polite.
Very nice.
A little golf clap. Okay, we're gonna do one more song for you guys. Thank you again. It really does mean a lot that you're here. I'm glad to see so many familiar faces. It makes me so happy to see you guys over and over. Hi. Love you. I haven't seen you since like May, right?
So long.
Yes, I know. Kayleen. My name is Kayleen. That's your name. Oh, yay. I'm so glad. You're the best. See, this makes me so happy. You guys are like my friends all over the world. Who needs a journal? Just kidding. I still need it. Okay. This song is called Cool Kids.
She says you're walking in a straight line. That's not really her style. And you got the same heartbeat, but his is falling behind. Nothing in this world could ever bring them down. Never invincible, and she's just in the background. She said that I could be like the cool kids, so the cool kids ain't seen the feeling. Wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. It seems I'm talking with a big smile, but they haven't got a clue. Yeah, they're living a good life. It's see what he's going through. They're driving fast cars, but they don't know where they're going. They're in the fast lane, living life without knowing. And he says, wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids ain't seen the feeling. Wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids ain't seen to get it. Wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. They say, wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids ain't seen the fit in. Wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids ain't seen the fit in. Wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids ain't seen to get it. Wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. Oh,
Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Korean Magazine for having us. You guys are so amazing. We love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Echosmith. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.